I love my cake, and I thought if I were to reduce my cake consumption, then
That's not enough. Your body doesn't tell you, oh, right, your sugar is really high right now.
managing diabetes is a daily experiment, and Nikko Tan is right in the middle of it. He's tried multiple CGMs or continuous glucose monitors to track the spikes and drops in sugar levels.
It helps you to know, okay, maybe I should be eating less of something and more of something else. That was 145 kilos. I did a very drastic diet and I lost about 40 kilos.
For a diabetic, when they exercise, the sugar goes
Shoots up. There's a specific order for you to eat your food as well. Half of it should be
Nikko, are you type 1 or type 2 diabetes?
type 2.
Type 2. Now, for the benefit of those watching, type 1 diabetes is when your body doesn't produce insulin at all. Both types of diabetes need careful monitoring, and that's where tools like CGMs come in. Some people say CGMs are just for type 1 diabetes. Nikko, why do you think type 2 patients like yourself could make use of CGMs?
I think over time with type 2 diabetes, you kind of develop resistance. They call it insulin resistance, basically type 2 diabetes. So when your body starts to form a resistance to your insulin, it doesn't produce as much. It doesn't know when to produce. So when you're eating, it doesn't come on automatically. So what these things do is to warn you how to control the diet to manage that.
Well, how does CGM actually work? Maybe we should go straight there.
Okay. If you're familiar with finger prick glucose test,
Finger prick.
yeah. So basically you prick your finger and then you put it into a machine that tells you exactly at that point in time how high your sugar is, your glucose, right? Your blood sugar. But it's only at that point in time. So what happens with glucose monitor, like a CGM, is that it will track for you and it will give you a chart of how is the progress, what's happening after you eat, what's happening after you do exercise and whatever.
And how do you access the chart?
Depending on which application, certain CGMs use a reader
Okay.
and the newer ones uses a Bluetooth that connects to your phone.
Oh, so it makes it very easy.
Yeah.
What is the craziest spike or drop that you've seen on your CGM?
Drops normally don't happen for me because I'm type 2 diabetic, so it goes up quite easily. It has gone up to about 14 or so.
14.
And that's on medication.
Right.
To give you a comparison, normal people will range between 4 and 8.
Okay.
If you wake up in the morning and you're 4 point something, you're pretty much normal. But if you wake up in the morning and you're 6 point something, it's very easy for you to overshoot the 8.
Right.
So when I say 14, 8 is plus 6. It's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a big jump.
And are you saying that when you wake up in the morning, what sort of level would you be?
I'm about 6 right now.
6 with medication.
Yeah.
So what does it take for you to eat to get to 14?
If you go for something that you don't expect, like you go for nasi kandar, right? And there are a lot of people in Malaysia like nasi kandar banjir.
Basah.
Yes, in that gravy is
Yeah.
a lot of sugar.
Right.
And then you eat it with rice, it's even worse because rice is carb. Carb converts into glucose.
Right.
So on top of the gravy, you have the rice. Hence, it goes up. Other thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is when you eat dim sum, almost the same thing happens. Maybe not 14, but 12.
Is it in the pao or
It's
is it
in
in
the sugar that they use in the sauces? And then there's also a lot of carb in it. Like if you say the siu mai, right? It's actually partially carb, right? This is not just meat.
I see. You know, nutritionists and gyms would say that you just eat better and exercise, but I can see that the CGMs are giving you a lot of data.
Yes.
How does this data help you?
So on a day-to-day basis, if you're eating your meals, you say, okay, I'm not going to eat cake. So no sugar, right? But you're eating everything else. And something that you don't think is going to spike your sugar may do the same thing. So without the CGM, you don't know exactly when you spike. Your body doesn't tell you, oh, right, your sugar is really high right now. The only way you can know is if you're measuring it.
measuring in life as you eat it. So it's like the dim sum. I didn't know that dim sums could actually
Yes,
spike
exactly. I didn't know that either. So when I first started measuring with the CGM, I thought, oh, I'm going to look for something that's low carb,
Mm-hmm.
and I will eat as little carb as I can. So I go there and I order 3 things, things like chicken feet. It's chicken feet, right?
Mm.
And I ate it and it went up to 12.
It's in a sauce.
Yes. It's in the sugar that they use in the sauce. It's in the carb that they use in the thing.
I see. I love my cake, and I thought if I were to reduce my cake consumption, then
That's not enough.
that's not enough.
So if you don't use sugar in your coffee or your tea,
Mm-hmm.
you don't take sweet drinks, soda, and you don't eat cake, that's only part of the issue. Everything else that you eat that's carb-based is going to shoot your sugar up. Basically, it's going to raise your sugar level.
Right.
So anything that is white, normally, white rice, white bread, you will see a very sharp spike. Now, with the CGM, that tells you whether that is a suitable product for you to eat. Like if you eat sourdough bread, it still goes up, but it goes up slower.
Well, there's a difference with rye bread, rye flour based.
Yes, it does.
So it's better than sourdough?
Well, apparently, according to the data that you find on the internet about diabetic-friendly products, you need to eat grain-based bread, like single grain, and not refined products.
Given that the CGM feeds the user with so much data, I would have thought that the benefits would go beyond a diabetic patient, whether type 1 or type 2, but even for fitness enthusiasts and just women who want to be healthy.
My wife, who was not diabetic, tried one on her arm the other day and found that when she goes to, say, play tennis, her blood sugar drops drastically because she's using so much energy.
Right.
But as for a diabetic, when you go and exercise, it shoots up. It actually goes above 8.
So for a diabetic, when they exercise, the sugar goes up.
Because your body is telling your body is telling your body to create more energy for the thing that's going to come. So the bigger or stronger your exertion, the more energy, the more glucose is going to release to give your body the power that it needs to go and get through that exercise, right?
So interesting. And you wouldn't have known this if yourself and your wife were not wearing the CGM.
And on an empty stomach in the morning when I go to the gym, I will still spike because I'm going for exercise and I'm doing some kind of strenuous activity.
Right.
Yeah.
Was there any food other than dim sum that you sort of ate and you didn't think that it would spike your sugar levels, but it did after you were wearing CGM? You go, oh my God, it actually
okay. In terms of measurement, I think on a scale of accuracy, it's very hard to say is a perfect 10. So you might get a 6 or 7. Sometimes it's a 9. Depends. And what happens with the measurement is that you may eat the same thing today and you may eat something else tomorrow, exactly the same thing, and it spikes different, depending on your body. So it's very much on a personal basis, whether your body at that point in time is able to process that sugar properly or not.
So it could be I had a better sleep today,
yes.
last night.
So better sleep, for example, if you ate something that's high in fiber, like you eat vegetables. So there's a specific order for you to eat your food as well for diabetic.
Right.
Yeah.
Could you share that with us? What sort of order would that?
So in terms of portion size, if you have a round plate like a pie, half of it should be fiber, like a salad or a vegetable or something that's high in fiber. A quarter will be protein, meats, anything that's protein, fish, preferably clean food like clean chicken or boiled chicken or whatever. And the other quarter can be fat and carb. You still need your carb. You still need a little bit of carb.
I see. And would you say that wearing the CGM helped you to research more
Yes.
into how you should.
So you can see, like, for example, if you had a big salad and then only have your meal,
Yeah,
you will see that the spikes are not as high.
I see.
Yeah.
And has that improved your weight overall from before?
Okay, I'm not actively doing weight management right now. I'm doing glucose management, and that has helped actually bring my weight down to almost I think about 10 to 12 kilos already.
Wow.
Because I stopped taking so much carb. It's actually the carb for me, I feel, that makes it hard.
I see. And well, we're talking about foods and how CGM has helped you. How do you first hear about CGM?
Okay. I had a friend who was facing the same issue. He had gone for a blood test and got a shock of his life because he suddenly, I'm actually diabetic. So the doctor, he was doing a lot of research and he says, I'm trying this. And he recommended it to me.
How old was your friend when he?
He was about 10 years my junior. He's about 40 when he started.
Right.
Yeah, but also big in size.
I see. So he was told about it from his doctor and he shared it with you. But
doctors generally do not prescribe using CGMs for type 2. You don't need to. You just need to control your diet, basically.
But as we covered that just now, you said it actually helps. What I'd like you to do, Nikko, you've brought in 3 different brands of CGMs today. I've personally tried Freestyle myself before, but I'm eager to hear. Can you walk us through, because I don't think everyone watching this show today would have used the CGM before.
Right.
Would you be able to share with us how you would wear each of them and how they're different?
So the Freestyle comes in 2 parts. One is the sensor, and that sensor gets attached to your body. And there's a little tiny needle at the end that inserts into the bottom of your skin.
Shall we have a look?
I don't know if I have that sensor with me, but this is a reader.
All right.
So what happens is the old version, the Freestyle one, which is quite popular in Malaysia, is that you will put the sensor on, and then what happens is it's actually here. If you can see it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you
might show the camera one more time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that all right? Yeah.
You will see. It's a sensor that looks like this.
Right.
Right. And then what happens is you need to tap it with this.
Sure.
It doesn't connect by Bluetooth.
Okay. Now, if you could explain for our audience, how does that sensor actually attach to the arm? It's true.
So normally, yes. So normally each of these things come with an applicator.
Okay.
The sensor actually sits inside the applicator, and then you press a button, and it will
punch it in,
basically.
And I guess that's what I really want to bring out today, because when I share about CGM with friends, they will often say to me, ouch, needle, it's going to hurt so much.
Yeah, but in comparison to having to check it every 5 minutes with the blood sugar, glucose monitor, you have to prick your fingers.
I actually found the pricking more painful than this. This was pretty much painless for me.
So it's like an ant bite, one time.
Yep.
And then after that, if it gets uncomfortable and sometimes it gets itchy because you have a sticker on top. You have plaster on top. But it's manageable.
The plaster is just to hold the sensor, isn't it?
So
it's not
because it's very easy, you need to knock it off your body.
So I just want to get this right. It's just a tiny needle that you don't feel it. It's not like they are creating this 20-cent coin wound.
And what happens is that needle is before you inject it, it's quite firm. As in, if you feel it, it's actually firm. You're not supposed to touch it. But once you put it into your body, I think there's a layer of thing that melts, and then it just sits in there. It's very soft, and you don't feel it. In fact, you don't feel it pretty much most of the time.
And Nikko, would this sensor restrict any of your movements or activities at all?
No, especially this the current one that I'm using comes with a plaster that helps you to keep it in place, and then even if you knock it by accident, it doesn't come off easily. But this one doesn't. This one has a very thin layer of plaster on the outside of the sensor.
Right. Are you able to do weights with the sensor on?
Yeah, of course, all the time.
Yeah, fantastic. So that's Freestyle. Which one are you wearing now?
I'm currently wearing this one. You will find that outside of the US, most of the products actually come from China.
Okay.
Okay. This is now 290, I think, or could be more, around that.
Ringgit.
It's less than 300 ringgit, but it's still very high.
Mm-hmm.
This one is 200 over, low 200s, and this is now 128.
There's no product placement for this, but
No, but
yeah.
this is now 128. So basically, the price is coming down.
Almost one-third the price of the crystal.
The prices are coming down. For these things, it becomes more affordable. If you're a working individual, getting it is not a problem. What I feel or what I advise a lot of people who have no history of diabetes is if you want to try it and you want to see how it's going, you try it for 2 weeks, which is a rough amount of time each of these sensors have to be changed. So they last about 15 days.
How many sensors are there in each box?
One.
Yeah. So it's 128 for 2 weeks, whereas that's 293 or something for 2 weeks. And with someone with type 1 diabetes, they would have to wear these all the
Yes, because they need to know exactly what, or they have to basically be very disciplined with their injections.
Right. And your type 2, do you wear this perpetually all the time?
No. When I finish my 2 weeks and I feel that I don't need to do it, then I just don't wear it. It's fine. I can wear it as and when I feel like doing it. So like if I'm going away on holiday where I can't control the kind of food I'm eating, whereas if I'm at home, I know exactly roughly what I'm going to have and it's the same thing across, then you just avoid the stuff that you know is going to spike you. Then how do you know what's going to spike you? You try this for 2 weeks and then you eat normally.
I see. And how would you remove it? Let's talk about the removal of the CGM.
It's like taking a plaster off, except that there's a little, you don't feel it. So even when you remove it, it just leaves a lot of plaster or the glue or whatever it is that's on the plaster.
This comes to the reader. There's ICANN and Otai
connected by Bluetooth
to your phone. So there's an app.
Correct.
Are readings live?
Yes, they are live to a 10-minute delay, I believe, most of the time.
So if I'm having a burger, I'd see my reading in 10 minutes?
Yeah. You can start seeing the results of what's happening as you're eating.
Wow.
Within 10 minutes.
When I used Freestyle, I would say 4 years ago, I didn't get that.
Not that live. It's about 7 minutes to 10 minutes, yeah.
Right. I see. And have you measured the reading of your CGM versus the finger prick just to get
I have. I generally don't care so much about how accurate it is. If it's within a 80% range of what the actual sugar is, then it's fine.
Because what you really want to know is
you really want to know is what's moving your sugar, what's moving your glucose level, and what you're eating is moving, whether or not it's going to move or not.
I see. Say you're having a chocolate cake, right?
Yes.
And CGM showing that spiking. Have you ever chosen to ignore the data and go, I'm just going to have that chocolate
all
cake
the time
right now? All the time. And do you regret it after? Do you really feel the spike?
Oh, sometimes you feel the spike. What happens with spikes is when it goes up too high and as it's coming down, what will happen is you have it's kind of like a rebound effect. It goes up and then it's like a ball bouncing on the floor. Okay. The higher you bounce, the higher it will rebound, right?
Yeah.
So what happens is as it goes up and it drops, you will feel very, very, very tired. You get very sleepy. That's why when you have nasi kandar in the afternoon, you always want to sleep.
Yes.
Because your sugar is up there and then it drops
at
the same speed. So the faster it goes up, the faster it comes down. Generally, what I find is that the graph for blood sugar spikes is that it goes up and down at pretty much the same pace. So if it takes you 10 minutes
to
go up, it will take you another. It generally stays up there for a while, and then as it comes down, it's the same kind of gradient in the reverse.
I see. So the CGM basically what the data that I'm getting will be twofold. One will be which foods are causing the spikes, and secondly,
how long they stay up, how long or how fast your body starts to react.
Right.
And then how fast it takes to come down. for healthy people, I think within 2 hours,
Mm-hmm.
they should see it back to normal. Basically, what was before they start the ET. But if you ask me, mine takes about 2.5 hours to actually return to normal. And it also depends on what you eat.
Okay.
If you're having, say, a high protein meal, like say a steak,
Yes.
it stays up longer. It comes down below the 8, maybe to about 6 point something, but it stays there for a lot longer because it's takes longer to process. Your body takes longer to process. And you can tell how that is going with a CGM.
Just a quick pause to say thank you for watching this show. Join our growing community by hitting that subscribe button. Your support gives us the opportunity to invite more voices and better guests to help you on your journey. What about local foods? I like to think of something that's more local. Can you share a little bit insight on some of the
What I've found is that
other than
our local foods tend to be very high in carbs. If you think of char kway teow, it's carb. If you think of wonton mee, it's carb. Everything is carb. There's no high protein local food, if you like, as far as hawker food is concerned. Except satay. And satay is sweet because the sauce is sweet. And
Does it spike
of course.
on satay?
But not as much as if you had char kway teow.
Right. What about durian?
I don't normally take durian, so I don't know. But I suspect you'll probably do the same thing. So when I take fruits, for example, and I take, say, blueberries or mango is very sweet. Certain types of fruits will spike. If you eat guava, maybe not so bad because it's not as sweet.
Right.
Yeah.
So which fruit, in your experience, has spiked more than others?
Generally, mangoes are not recommended for people with diabetes.
Right.
Because they're very sweet.
Mm.
Berries are still okay. Like, for example, blueberries, things that generally people eat, strawberries.
If someone wants to buy a CGM or wants to try it for 2 weeks, or type 2, wants to sort of have it inculcated in part of the lifestyle, what would you recommend that they look out for when buying, standing in a pharmacy, and what would you recommend them?
Oh, well, first of all, you have to look at the price point. Is it going to suit you? Because it only lasts for 14 to 15 days.
Mm.
Are you going to be willing to spend that kind of money every 2 weeks? Is an additional cost to your cost of living, right?
Yes.
One, how convenient is it for you to get the reading? If you're using this and you don't have the reader, it becomes very inconvenient because you have to keep, and if you forget to do it, then it takes a while for you to get the data in. And it's very hard to see because it's on a very small display. Whereas these ones that are on the app makes it much easier for you. And the app basically gives you a full rundown. Certain services like the current one I'm using is even come to the point where when you stop using it, it gives you a summary of your report for the last 2 weeks.
Nice.
In PDF in the app.
Wow.
And then you can go back and study what happened during the last 2 weeks. Whereas for certain ones, it just tells you at that point in time what is your data. But to go back and review your history becomes a little bit more tedious. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it's just more tedious. Whereas this one made it really easy. I mean, the one I'm using right now.
Yes. Yeah. And do they all wear the same, or do some are
you can choose? Okay, so certain brands prescribe wearing it on the abdomen next to your navel. Certain brands prescribe wearing it on the arm. Some brands just say either here or there. But generally the area is either on the arm, either one, or in your navel.
And these 3 brands could be either or.
This one is on the navel. They actually prescribe that you wear it on your stomach.
Right.
Because that's, I guess, it's closest to where the middle of the body is.
I see. Here's the thing. If you've got a sensor on, right, would you have that obsession like, oh no, I just took a little piece of a tempeh chip, for example, or a potato chip. Will you have this obsession to keep referring to the app and saying, has my sugars gone up? And it sort of disrupts the mental load being there.
I think after a while of using it, for me, it's something that I use regularly. Mm-hmm. So it's not something that bothers me so much. I just know that if I'm eating a meal, I will check within half an hour or so. Is it spiking? Is it going up really fast or is it slow? And then do I actually exceed that level of 8? I tend to be very strict. So in terms of my measurement, I'm not very strict with what I eat, but I'm very strict with my measurement. So if it goes over 8, okay, I've spiked. But for some people, their alarm only goes off when it gets to 10.
Right.
And if they are below 10, they're still very happy because I haven't spiked today.
The alarm is preset or something that you set?
Something that you set yourself with certain brands, depending on what brand it is. Some brands don't allow you to change that. The current one I'm using is very flexible, so you're able to set where your alerts come. So once it exceeds that, it will start to tell you on the app, because I'm using Bluetooth, right? It will tell you on the app that you have gone above that level.
The phone will buzz?
This one, I can turn off the sound. This one doesn't allow you to turn off the sound. So every time you spike, it goes ding, 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 ding. And it's really,
You gotta put the still mic
it's really irritating unless you turn off the sound on your phone.
Right.
Yeah. So depending on which one you want, some people may like that because, they want to be aware all the time.
It's like the seatbelt in car.
Yeah,
You don't wear it.
you don't wear it, then you get really annoyed.
I suppose because if you wear it all the time, then you kind of get used. It's part of your lifestyle, isn't it?
And you know that, okay, you kind of know exactly after using it for a while what's going to spike you. So I had a meal yesterday, and the meal was tonkatsu. You think tonkatsu is pork, right? I don't eat the rice.
So you have just the tonkatsu and
Yeah, it just has tonkatsu, but there's a lot of breadcrumb on the outside. So I didn't think it was going to spike that high. It went up to about 10 point something.
Right.
But like I said, for some people, 10 is considered not a spike. So,
and you would consider it a spike?
I consider it a spike because I'm measuring on a normal level of 4 to 8. So anything over 8, I consider it a spike. I consider it as having gone over my threshold.
Right. You say that, you don't watch what you eat, but you are watching the spikes. And I suppose if you had tonkatsu and it's going 10 point something, you wouldn't then have a chocolate cake after that and keep it going. So you do watch what you eat based on the data that's coming through.
What I find is that it helps you to manage when you eat and how fast you go on to the next meal. So like, for example, if you just had something, even if it's not filling, for example, you had a small slice of cake in the morning or a slice of bread, and it shoots up to, say, 8, even if you don't spike. And it stays there for about 2.5 hours for me, and then it comes down again. That spike will tell you that it's not time to eat until it drops to a level that you know that you can manage.
I see.
Your body can manage. So if you've gone up to 8 or 9 and it's coming down and you're still 7 point something, you're below the level. But the moment you eat something else, it's going to shoot up again. So it starts on a high level, it goes even higher.
Sure.
So that's what happens with a lot of people because they're not aware. Or they think, I'm not eating sugar right now, but I'm eating something. And even if it's steak, it takes you to, say, 7.5. But to get from 7.5 to the next level, so after that, I might have a little bit of cake, but it's only a little bit. But it's going to shoot from 7.5 upwards.
That's interesting because what you're saying is, although it doesn't, you're still enjoying life, so to speak, by eating what you love, but it helps you manage the timing of eating to ensure that.
So if I'm going to have a meal and I know that I'm going to have a meal in about 3 hours from now, then I will not eat anything in between. Because I know that if I'm high already and I go for my next meal, even if it's, say, a salad with a bit of cold cuts or whatever, it will still go up. Whatever you eat will still raise your blood sugar because it's food. It's a matter of how high it raises. If you're eating just pure green vegetables, maybe not. But
we don't
think you do that all the time. And you cannot do that all the time unless you're vegetarian. And again, vegetarian is very high in carb. Because if you look at local vegetarian, it's rice, noodles,
pumpkin.
Sure, there's no meat. Pumpkin is fine. Pumpkin is natural. I mean, not too much, but it's fine.
Is it a spike? Pumpkin?
Oh, of course. I mean, it doesn't spike above 8, but it goes up.
Right.
So, for example, if I have if I go and have a salad, I normally at my local dairy, it goes up to maybe 7.8, which is very close to the levels. But for my friend who has been managing it better than I am, he is very strict with himself. Nowadays, after losing weight, he can eat, say, ramen. It doesn't spike as much. It doesn't go above his threshold.
And this is the friend that introduced you to CGM?
Yes.
I see. It's helped you manage the timing of eating. Has CGM also helped you in terms of management of medication, or do you just take the same medication all the time?
Unfortunately, with diabetes, there is no escape from medication. It's just a matter of how much medication. So in my case,
the dosage based on your CGM readings, or
you should not do that because the doctor will have to prescribe. So generally, you're prescribed something like metformin that is for general control, and then there are other drugs that raises your insulin level before you eat. In my case, I'm also doing injection, which is a drug that is slow release and takes about a week. So every week you have to inject yourself. And that helps you to manage your insulin level, to manage your food. So when you have the injection versus when you don't have the injection, you will notice that the glucose level doesn't go up as high versus if you don't use it.
There's so much that a diabetes patient has to go through. You mentioned the injection, a slow release, and some actually inject before every meal, as I understand it.
Yes, that's for type 1 normally.
That's for type 1.
Because they have no insulin.
Right.
Or very low insulin. So before they eat, they actually have to tell their body, I'm going to eat, and please deal with the food when I eat it. Yeah.
Whereas with type 2, you can do the slow release.
And that basically helps. It's easier to manage. It's a once a week thing. Yeah.
Can you just share a little bit about your diabetes journey? When did you first find out was it a symptom that you had, or you?
No, I've had diabetes since I was in my 20s because I've always been overweight. I was very much more overweight when I was in my 20s. I was 145 kilos. As I came to a point where I did a very drastic diet and I lost about 40 kilos. But the thing is, you can't go on like that forever. The food is terrible. It's basically... And then after 2 years of doing that and losing 40 kilos, okay, that's enough. Let's go back to normal.
Yeah.
And then you just put it all back on.
You put back the whole 40 kilos?
Yes.
So that was not sustainable.
So it's a matter of a change of lifestyle that you need to adopt to be able to manage this.
And that CGM is helping you.
Yes.
It's part of
so basically what I did was about 3 years ago, I think, when I started using CGM, I had detected my glucose level had gone up to about 11. There are two types of glucose levels. One is your blood glucose at that point in time. Another one is called a HbA1c. A1c is basically a 3-month average of how high your sugar is. Doctors will not look at current blood levels anymore. They will just look at A1c. Yeah. HbA1c basically tells you how well you're managing your blood sugar.
Right.
So if you're anything over 6.5, I think, or 6.0 on a base level without eating on a fasting, then you are considered pre-diabetic. Anything above that, then you're diabetic. Yeah.
And what happened for you? So you said 3 years ago.
So for me, when I checked, I was 15 glucose level.
Right.
My HbA1c was about 11. Then I put on a glucose monitor 3 months later, and with very strict control over what I ate, no carb basically, I went down to 6.
But were you on metformin already when you were?
I was on and off. So after a while, after you've lost weight, or after you had done it for a while, you tend to lose track and say, "Oh, I'm going to stop taking my medication because I think I'm okay." Yeah. No. You cannot stop. You just have to keep going.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to piece it together. So when you lost the 40 kilos, you kind of like tapered off the medication.
So what happens is, when you lose 40 kilos, you've lost a lot of weight.
Yes.
And then your body is better able to handle glucose, right? Because you're already, first of all, you're fitter. You have a lot less weight to deal with. Yeah. So you generally perform better. So you go and do your blood tests. You go and do your checkups with the doctor. And the doctor will say, oh, your blood sugar level is very good. Continue. Just keep eating. Just keep taking the medication and, continue. And you think, oh, I don't need it anymore because I'm so low. I'm fine right now. But after, let's say, a couple of years of not taking it, you realize, oh, it's actually back to square one. Yeah. And as you put on weight again, you get, it gets more and more difficult to manage.
How do you balance using CGM and eating and socializing, especially, when you have festive seasons and things like that?
You just know. So before the festive season, you try and lose weight? Or you just, like I said, it's a change of lifestyle. So you come to a point where you just say, okay, cake, I'm going to have it maybe once every 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something. And, it's just something that you change the way you eat. So like if you go to a restaurant and you look at the menu, oh, what am I going to order today? Oh, there's this high protein, carb-free option. You pick that. You pick fish over, say, red meats.
A red meat spikes higher than fish.
Oh, it'll stay up longer.
Right.
Yeah. Like if I go to a cafe and they serve, say, omelets, and omelets usually come with bread, you don't take the bread.
I see.
You just eat the omelet. So certain places, the food will suit you better, whereas other places, they don't offer you as much options that helps you to manage your sugar.
Do you think sugar management is an urgent reset that we need to?
If you're perfectly healthy and your body is able to handle, I don't think there's a problem. It's when you're overweight or if you're diabetic and you're starting to form insulin resistance, basically. I think that's the word that's better than diabetic. Basically, your body is not able to handle sugars more. And that happens when you're older. That happens when you're overweight. That happens when, for whatever reason, genetically, your family has a history. And that plays a very big role. The first thing the doctors will ask is, does your family have any history of diabetes? Because it runs in the family. So if your parents have diabetes, then you better get yourself checked or be a little bit more careful.
What would your one piece of advice be for someone else watching who has type 2 diabetes?
Get it checked. Get it monitored on a regular basis.
Get it monitored on a daily basis?
On a regular basis with the doctor.
With the doctor, but not, what about?
Oh, this was. It basically tells you what to eat and what not to eat. And then what's spiking you. And if you think your diet is relatively healthy, how do you know whether it's healthy or not? You check. It may be healthy, but it's not good for your blood sugar.
I see. That's been very helpful. I think you've given us great insight into CGM today. As we wrap up, one last question that we ask all our guests: what's one non-negotiable ritual or daily practice that you do now as part of an ongoing reset, especially in today's topic?
With the CGM, I think you monitor exactly what it is that's causing you to spike, and then choosing not to indulge in that kind of food.
Choosing not to indulge in the food. Oh, that's a good reset.
That's one way of managing your blood sugar, right?
It calls for great discipline, isn't it?
Yeah. It basically changes your lifestyle. You want to manage your blood sugar, you got to change your lifestyle. And what this does is it helps you to manage that change.
Right.
It helps you to stop choosing char kway teow, say, over, I don't know, something else that doesn't spike.
Choosing char kway teow over the vegetables from the economy.
Unfortunately, in terms of prices, you're paying a whole lot more in our society, and especially in the Malaysian context. for healthier food. Because you buy a salad, it's maybe 30 ringgit, 25 ringgit. You can have very cheap options, but you can't eat that forever because it's very, very, very basic.
Or you could eat the vegetables from...
You could, but again, vegetables in say you don't take rice.
Right.
The moment you take rice, it doesn't help your blood sugar, especially if you're type 2 diabetic.
Right. So you have to look at things like tofu, but it would come with, as you say, quite a bit of sauce and gravies, and that's where the little devils and...
Yeah. So this helps you to manage and say, okay, if I'm going to take, say, economy rice, and I'm going to pick only vegetables, greens, right, for example.
And not rice with potatoes.
Yeah. And you don't pick the ones that that they cook in some black sauce that's full of sugar. That is fine.
Got it.
But if you take curry, again, curry is a lot of sugar. Yeah.
Got it. Well, Nikko, thank you for joining me today and showing us that managing diabetes is not about perfection, right?
No.
It's a journey, and to have that continuous monitoring, making that little decisions to reset every day, as you say, to not overindulge and to not indulge.
And when to eat also. I think it's very good in managing. If you don't want to get your spike, if you don't want to have that up and down or the yo-yo effect, if you like, of going up and down again, it helps you to decide when's the best time to eat and whether you eat a lot or very little as well in terms of quantity. Because if you don't have much leeway to get to the top part of your sugar management thing, you need to manage how much you eat as well.
Yeah.
Or what kind of food you eat.
That's a really good summary. And I tried the freestyle 4 years ago now. So perhaps it's time for me to try the latest in the market. And I look forward to going there.
Anything that's Bluetooth related. That's Bluetooth connected to your phone works, I find, a lot more effectively because you don't have to have a device with you.
Yep.
And it's on your phone. And
your
you're
phone professionally with you.
Yeah. And it also is able to give you alerts when you rise above a certain level. You can see it at any time.
That's because you're very disciplined. I think I would be someone who would
No, and it doesn't matter whether you track it now after eating or whether you track it at night after you get home and you're free. Because it will just tell you, okay, today your meal at lunchtime, for example, 5-6 hours ago took this long to go up and down.
And it helps you manage that better.
It helps you to know, okay, maybe I shouldn't be eating something like that, or maybe I should be eating less of something and more of something else. Yeah.
Got it. Nikko, thank you for explaining all that to us today. I think this is going to help so many people. Thank you, Nikko.
You're welcome. Thank you.
If you're finding this episode valuable, please hit subscribe. Your support enables us to bring professional insights and powerful stories that helps your journey to heal and grow resilience. Together, let's create conversations that matter.
This episode reflects personal views and recollections at the time of filming. Its content is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult a qualified healthcare practitioner to address the concerns you have.